was your first Bedlam experience like?
It was awesome. A lot of people there. I had heard it was going to be a crazy game going into it, but I guess I wasn't really prepared for how many people were there. But it was really awesome to experience that for the first time.
What was it like for you post game whenever people are jumping down on the field and things like that?
It was awesome. I've never been to any sporting event where this field has been rushed, and so being a part of the team that caused that to happen was incredible. Being run into by fans, taking pictures after the games and stuff, it was an awesome experience.
Were you able to get off in a timely manner? Did you want to get off in a timely manner?
Not at all, honestly. It was like anytime I would try and leave, I'd hear my name, and I felt bad not taking pictures, so I was like, I'll stay with these guys and I'll take pictures. And then finally a security guard came up and was like, hey, they need you in the locker room. So then I went with him.
Can you talk about what you've learned the past 2 games for you, just about yourself and the team?
Honestly, just always be ready for anything. The unexpected needs to be expected. Honestly, I came in not thinking I was gonna redshirt, and now that redshirt's gone. But I'm showing that I can perform out here, and I just gotta expect the unexpected all the time.
Leon, is that tough to go through a situation where you kind of thought you were gonna be here next year, and now you're kind of, I guess, injury-wise forced to burn the red shirt?
It's not tough in the football aspect for me. It's more tough that I thought I was going to have another year with my friends and stuff here, with the coaches and everything, and relationships I built outside of football. That's really the tough spot for me, but I'm ready to play and I'm ready to ball out the rest of the season.
Is that hard to just jump into action like that?
No, I've been ready to play the whole time. It's just the football aspect, playing and everything, wasn't really the tough part. It's really just the social that was kind of eating at me a little bit. Yeah.
How much of an opportunity has this been for you, though, and will it continue to be?
A huge opportunity. As I've said before in previous interviews, I thought I was going to be getting my master's right now, going to be getting my master's in teaching and starting to do that, and so this really wasn't D1 Power 5 football was never really something I expected my life to a path for my life, and so it's just I'm taking every opportunity I get.
Still on that academic track, or you have to wait on that now too?
We'll see what happens. Well, right now I just got a second bachelor's, so now after this December I'll have a second bachelor's degree, and so we'll see what happens with next semester and what training and stuff looks like after this. But just kind of focusing on what's on the now and finishing the season out. Yeah.
I don't think I've got to talk to you so far this season. Can you kind of recap how you made your way from George Fox to Stillwater?
Yeah, so I had a crazy senior season a 2022 season at George Fox, and the entire time I was telling my friends, they were asking me if I was coming back, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I'm just going to go home, get my master's, do an online school. And then I had a couple people come up to me and tell me to enter the transfer portal and see what would happen. Entered it, didn't hear much for a little bit, and then Josh Gonzalez called me up on a Wednesday and said, hey, flight's booked Friday, you ready? I said, well, I was planning on transferring in the fall, but honestly, let's go. And so then came here, loved it, committed 5 days later.
What was the 2020 season like for you? Because obviously I think I went to a D2 school around that time. Did D3 cancel too?
D3 moved it to spring, so we had.
Okay.
I guess it depended on the school. So if you've ever heard of Linfield University, they're a big D3 school on the West Coast. They didn't play at all. They didn't play any games. They just practiced in the fall. My school played 2 games against Pacific University, 2 games in the spring, but I chose to play baseball because I was doing both sports. And baseball at that time got a full season with playoffs and everything, so I was kind of way better decision.
What was that like? Have you ever played baseball before though?
No, yeah. I was playing. I was a dual sport athlete there. Yeah.
Whenever you entered the portal, what were kind of your expectations, and I guess how many different schools have reached out?
I'm not really sure my expectations were. A lot of people, my whole life, my dad and people have told me you have the body to be a D1 football player, but I'm not sure if I really ever believed that myself. I was just kind of playing football because I love playing football. I wasn't really trying to look for the big screen or all the fame and stuff that comes with it. I love playing football, so I'm gonna do it when I can. And then entered it, didn't hear really anything. I heard a couple things from smaller D2 schools and a couple other D3s, but I was like, if I'm gonna continue playing football, I'm gonna try to go big. And so I just kind of sat there and waited. And then OSU hit me up, and that was when it kind of took off. Because after I announced they offered me, a couple other schools offered me after that, but these guys were the ones that found me, so I kind of chose here.
What was your high school? How'd you end up at
I didn't really focus on getting myself out there in high school. I think that's what my issue was. you see a lot of guys going to camps and getting rated and stuff. Like, I was more interested in just playing the sports I love. So I was playing football, and then once football season was over, I moved into summer baseball and spring baseball, and so I never really did all the extra camps and everything, and tried to get my name noticed, and just kind of took what was given to me. And so George Fox came and visited our school, and visited there and chose there after visiting.
With you burning your red shirt now, and you mentioned you thought you're going to have more time to develop and all these things, is it almost you lock in more now in a way because this is it?
I'm not sure if I want to say I'm more locked in. I want to say I'm just more like realizing like, okay, I need to show myself now, instead of I get to build up and get another year to get my name known a little bit. But now it's just, now is my time, and I need to show that whenever my name is called, I can show.
Have you done anything the last 2 weeks that has surprised yourself?
Honestly, I want to say no. Like, I've been ready to play the whole time, and I believed I could play since I got here, but I also trusted Dunn and him telling me another year, because never did I not believe I wasn't good enough, but I did believe I could be better. And so with Dunn telling me with another year with me, another year with Glass, you'll be even better than you are now. And so I didn't go into that game thinking, oh, I'm not going to do good, I'm going to drop balls or anything. It was, I'm going to show what I've been able to do this whole time, and even though I don't get that extra year.
What do you think you've grown the most from the time you left George Fox to right now?
I want to say it's just like the little things, like footwork. Like, I kind of ran a little more high school routes, as Dunn likes to call it, and when I got here, and now they've definitely developed into more D1 Power 5 football routes.
What are those? What are high school routes?
Like, on a go route, you just run outside and try and beat him with speed, instead of thinking, oh, get outside of him, then lean back in, and then stack him. And so it's not, I wasn't really thinking about a lot of that stuff before, instead of, now it's like, oh, okay, it's just kind of embedded in me now because of Dunn.
Has your body changed much under Coach Glass?
I gained about 20 pounds in the first, so from the first, we do a thing called bod pod. It tells you your body fat percentage and everything. And when I first got here, I weighed like 200 pounds, and then a month later I weighed 217 with less body fat than the 200. So I gained pretty much 16 pounds of pure muscle. And so that's accredited to Glass with the workout program and with the facilities and food and stuff that they give us here. Yeah.
Leon, what are you hoping to get out of the last, month and a half, 2 months of college football for you?
As much fun as possible. Just, it's all I got. I only have a month left with the people I've met here, a month left with the coaches and stuff. Trying to get as good as possible in the last month I'm here, while also having as much fun in my last month and a half of college. Yeah.
Thank you.
Did you go out Saturday night to celebrate?
No?
What did you do to celebrate? Maybe I'll ask you.
I went out with a couple friends. My parents were here, and so, and then two of my childhood best friends were visiting me from town, kind of because they thought they had all next year to come and watch me at a game, and so once they learned that my red shirt was being burned, they were like, we're gonna come to Bedlam this year. It's the biggest game of the year. They got it. They were on standby actually, so they weren't even sure if they were gonna be able to get here.
Oh, wow.
They slept an hour and a half from the Friday to the Sunday they left because of the last minute travel they had to set up. So it was, showed them around Stillwater, showed them the facilities, and then we all went out and had a little bit of fun.
Who were these guys?
One of them's Kainoa China, and then the other one's Eric Boehner. Eric Boehner was my high school quarterback, and I kind of grew up playing football with him, and then Kainoa China is just like a childhood best friend I grew up playing sports with. Yeah.
You healthy, see.
Right now, not very often, because I'm from Seattle, so one of them lives in Seattle, and then one of them goes to school in Idaho. Kainoa goes to school in Idaho, and so I play video games with him pretty often, but other than that, I don't really get to see him all that often at the moment.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you got to hang with them.
No, yeah, it was
You were
awesome.
going to do that anyway.
No, yeah.
Winning.
Yeah, definitely.
You've probably been asked this. How do you feel about losing the red shirt? Because I know you wanted to come back from everything I've heard.
At first, it was a little tough, just because I've been ready to play football the entire time. But when I first got here, I was like, okay, I'm gone in December. I don't need to get too comfortable with Stillwater. Like, while it is my home for the next year, it's only a year. I'm not gonna really set my roots down because I'm gonna be gone, and I don't want to be too upset when I leave. And then I got used to that, and then the red shirt was brought up, and so then I did sink my roots in a little bit, because I was like, I'm here for another year now. I'm gonna sit down and get a little more comfortable, and then it was taken away again, which was a little hard, but I've come to terms with what I can do. So.
What do you mean by sinking your roots in? How do you do that?
Like, just getting a little more comfortable, like giving my I don't know, my personal self a little bit more, like loving, like I love Stillwater, I love the people here and everything, but I didn't want to like call it home because I didn't want to be like in December like, oh damn, like I've settled down, like this is my home now I'm leaving again. And then I got used to calling it my home for those couple months, and now it's not my home again in December. So
what was that conversation like when they approached you and said, hey, we have this idea?
for the red shirt?
To take it, to burn the red shirt.
Oh, to burn it? It was just, I just kind of realized it was what was needed. At the West V game, after I had to go in that fourth quarter, and then knowing the injuries that were sustained that game, it was like, it's probably going to be the same way the rest of the season. And so it was, I didn't really need the conversation. It was just, I realized it myself, yeah.
So is there any path you can do to try any kind of hardship or anything like that? Because I know you set out the 2020 season or didn't play the
I'm not
2020
sure.
season.
It's kind of out of my hands. I'm going to talk to maybe some attorneys or something, but at the moment I'm dealing with or accepting the fact I'm gone in December.
So what's next for you? Like when you're planning it out right now, what do you think are your next steps?
It's a great question. I guess we're going to have to see. I'm not really sure at the moment.
What was the 2020 reason? Like, was it the pandemic or was it?
Well, so D3, they didn't
play, right?
Well, so it depended on university and what they all worked out. And so my university moved their season to the spring, and they played 2 games against the same team. But since I was playing baseball, I was playing both football and baseball there. Baseball had a full season with playoffs and stuff, and so I was like, and it was either miss out 18 baseball games and play those 2 football games, or get the whole season with my other team I had. So I chose to just play baseball.
Well, it doesn't seem right that you lose eligibility because of that.
Well,
But it's not your fault. That's what I'm saying. Like,
yeah, I'm not sure how it all works.
Yeah, okay.
Kind of leaving it up to the higher ups.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to knock your offense at the other place, so don't take it that way.
yeah.
But how much more complex is what you guys do here?
I want to say route trees are route trees, and you kind of once you pick them up, you kind of pick them up. I want to say we have a little bit more developed route trees here. George Fox is a newer program. They just started back up in 2014, and so they for how new and stuff they are. I never really had, like, I was never really like, oh, this is awful. It was just working with what we're working with, and we made it work while I was there. And so here it wasn't like a culture shock or anything. It was just there are the routes, and I'm going to learn them. And
So like, I mean, obviously Coach Dunn is putting in new stuff week and doing all sorts of different pre-snap stuff, all of that. That's never like seemed overwhelming.
no, not at all. Yeah.
Talk about the progression of the wide receiver room over these winning streaks. Just with you, Shad Owens, Brendan Presley, you seem like you're getting more comfortable in the offense. Just talk about your progression as you and as a whole as a wide receiver room.
I want to say all of us have been like, each and every one of us have been progressing every week, ready to play, and when our number's called, we've been ready to have that number be called. It's just now there's no rotations. It's only me, Shad, and Presley playing, and so it's when the receiver's catching the ball, it's really one of the only 3 of us instead of we're rotating Talons in, Jay Bray's in, Stribs in, and so I don't want to say like we're progressing more or getting more comfortable. It's just the fact that there's no rotations and we're the only 3 that are really really able to play at the moment. Yeah.
So going back to what I was asking about, so how much fun is it then to see the new stuff that Dunn's putting in?
It's a lot of fun. Like, you watch film and I'm like, oh, okay, like if we ran this, it would be open, and then Dunn hands us a piece of paper and I'm like, oh, well, there it is. And so realizing like I don't really need to be thinking about that stuff, because while I do, it's like Dunn's gonna figure it out too. So Dunn's watching even more film than we are, and we're watching a lot of film ourselves. Yeah.
Teammates still curious about where you came from? Like, you still tell them the story, or do they have the story?
I think they all have the story by now. Yeah. When I first got here, well, everybody thought, which I really appreciate. Well, when I got here, I didn't have the mustache and stuff. They all called me Babyface Leon, so I kind of grew it out. They said you're gonna get made fun of on ESPN if you don't have facial hair. So I grew it out, but but they all thought I was a freshman when I first got here, and then, well, except for the guys that were kind of like paying attention to transfers and stuff. But once I kind of all told them, they all accepted me, and like they all loved the story. But we're all here to ball and play football, and so yeah.
Tell me what kind of math you were